And we are back live here on the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey, producer Chris, once again behind the scenes on today's show as the 24-hour vent without having it held against you or whatever we want to term it, safe space, however we want to call it, is still active for the Cowboys. You got, we'll call through the live show, somewhere in that range. I mean, that gets you right about to the end of the game, I suppose. First question, do you trust Mike McCarthy as the Dallas Cowboys play caller? A for yes, B for no. So you can vote in the pin poll and in the comments section. A for yes, B for no. Sound off for me in the comment section right now. A for yes, B for no. Do you trust McCarthy as the play caller? It's down to 50-50 in the pin poll, which I can't say I'm overly surprised by. I think in the red zone in particular, which you moved the ball really well outside of the red zone yesterday. You've actually done that pretty much all year long so far. I think in the red zone, the run game was, I think you can blame the lack of the offensive line. You can go back and look at, there's some of the All-22 clips out there. The NFL Plus version should be available tomorrow, given the way they tend to operate. But just no holes. Like your O-line played a bit more like a backup offensive line would play in the red zone in the run game. Passing game, there's not much there. There was nobody really open. I think your best pass look was probably the Lamb fade that he kind of gave up on a little bit. I thought it could have been, go up strong with it, CD. Don't look for the flag immediately. I didn't love that one from that perspective. 54% voting yes, 46% say no. From not Jeremy Chuggs' burner account, Mike McCarthy spamming slant screen and boots. There's a lot of slant flats. They ran a screen that worked out really well to Dowdle for the score, then came back to it, and it wasn't blocked well, and Dowdle found a way to make it work somehow, by the way. And yeah, they like that play-action boot play, which is fine, but the Cardinals were covering it very well. Maybe one play, one where Dak kind of threw at the back of the end zone that maybe last second he could have adjusted and tried to kind of like dump it over the linebacker's head, and maybe it could have worked, but very tight window. And, second down, that's probably one of those where you want to live with it as opposed to, that Eagles play against, remember that when they just threw it right to the defender? It's kind of dangerous spot to be similar on that one. You need something to work to counter off of those. We saw the counter off of the slant. They did run a sluggo. It should have worked. Not the greatest throw from Prescott, and I don't think that was the same play as the PI that wasn't called, but I don't remember off the top of my head exactly. But yeah, you got to have some counters there. You're going to run that play action boot, which by the way, my biggest issue with that play action boot, I don't think it looks similar enough to your actual run plays. Like I think you need to match those play calls a little bit tighter overall. All right, the Cowboys were down not one, not two, but three starters on the offensive line. So will they ever actually get this version of the starting five healthy? You have not had this version of your O-line, Tyron, Tyler, Zach, and Terrence, healthy together for any game this year or in their entire careers. They've never all played together. Last time your planned starting five offensive line was healthy was back in the 2021 NFL playoffs. It's a very long time to go without a starting offensive line. And it's also probably the difference in this McCarthy-led team versus the Garrett-led team. The Garrett-led team would have folded. They would not have been able to survive without one starting offensive lineman. Mike's team has been able to. So whatever happened, Y for yes, N for no. Sound off for me in the comment section right now. Will that starting offensive line ever get fully healthy together? I'll give some shout-outs here. Glenn, 10 Green Rangers say no. Ramos says no. Dylan 101 says yes. Carlos Moose says yes. Luis Rodriguez says yes. Brent says no. Taco Eater says no. With Tyron Smith, no. Dervis says no. Glockness Monster says yes. Justice Baca says no. Luke D says put me at center. Are you trying to get me and your quarterback killed all at once? A 6 foot, 190 generously listed pound center. That's not a recipe for success. I think I could eat just straight lard. I don't think I can get up to a NFL program weight by the end of the season even. So putting me at center is straight up asking for me to die and for your quarterback to have to run around more than he did in week 3. Don't like that one very much. We have a new sponsor here at the Cowboys Report. It is Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including the pros and the sharks, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Super simple. You can make your picks and submit an entry in less than 60 seconds, and you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. They have a vast selection of sports and stat types not offered anywhere else. You can go make some picks on the Monday Night Football game tonight. You can bet more than, less than on Matthew Stafford, Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts, whatever you want to go with from that perspective. About that one, I feel more than on Zeke touchdowns is a good way to go about it. So head over to prizepicks.com/CLNS. That's the code, CLNS, for a first deposit match up to $100. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. Again, that's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Kevin the Destroyer, a $5 super chat, says debacle in the desert. Also said, OMG, Tom, the odds are sponsor is amazing. Went like 20-4 on football picks over the weekend. Amazing DC4L. That's fantastic. I mean, that is off the charts results. So I'm very happy for you, Kevin, and I'm glad you gave us some of the super chat money. So thank you very much, my friend. All right, what is your one-word reaction to the Cowboys' loss against the Cardinals? I like Kevin's debacle. In terms of the line he had from that one, I think that's pretty good on that front. One-word reaction to the Cowboys' loss against the Cardinals. Sound off in the comments. I will give some shout-outs momentarily. I see embarrassing, horrible, horrid. What else we got here? We've got annoying, sad. Sad is a good one as well. Unworthy, horrid, well. Seabass wants to bench Dak. There's another interception. Guys, he's got a 1% turnover rate this year. Like, come on. It's a bad interception. Yet you had a 10% chance per the win probability of winning the game at that point. I wouldn't read too much into it. It's not, come on. Disgraceful, depressing, frustration, unmotivated is a good one. They kind of came out flat, didn't they? They came out flat in that one. Shambles, TKG's just angry, humble, expected, lackluster, sloths, disappointing, pancakes. Maybe that refers to the offensive line of the Cardinals taking care of business over there. Disappointed as well, unprepared. These are all good ones. All right, who do you have winning this week? As we're on to New England at the back end of today's show. C for the Cowboys, P for the Patriots for me. Let's see. C's from Luis Rodriguez, TKG, Careless Moo, Edit. Dave wants to know, how is it not PI on the Gallup throw in the end zone? Don't know. By the way, I'm not thinking about it. That was the sluggo move. Don't know. It looked like it was that to me. Like it was there, covered. You don't have to turn your head around, but he also just hit the receiver where the ball was coming to him. Like, it looked like PI. Nasty says C. Charger Mom says C. Glenn, why am I not wearing my Cowboys polo? Well, I wore it the first 2 games because they won, and now I have to wear something different in week 3 or week 4 because they lost. Also, like, it's dirty. P from Preston. Oh, Preston, I don't like that prediction. I don't like it. Based Veteran says C. Luke D says C, but I think Zeke's got like He's like 1 carry in the red zone all year this year for the Patriots, by the way, which is kind of funny. Vince, Luke D, base veteran. I do think Zeke's going to score a touchdown. I feel pretty good about that one. Jacoby Johnson, Daryl Edwards, Dino Mendoza, C. Mostly C's in there. I think that's reasonable. Now, we have almost 300 people watching live right now. Let's get to 100 likes, or we will not start the show. That is the word from producer Chris. 300 likes, or the show, or 100 likes of the 300 people watching, or the show will not go on. It's not even a 50% like rate. So again, we always ask for likes because it helps us grow. That's why we ask for it, right? More people that like the video, the more it gets shown to other places on YouTube. We continue to grow. You know, that game against the Cardinals, as bad as the result was, and I'm still pissed about it, was our most viewed regular season watch party ever. And it's because of you guys, liking videos, sharing videos, commenting, all of that awesome stuff. So keep doing it. That way we can continue to grow and can continue to expand the Chat Sports empire and even do more Cowboys Report videos for you guys. I will make note, no Thursday watch or live show this week. Had a bachelor party in New Orleans of all places. So I will not be available. We'll still have the daily videos for you guys, but no watch party no live show. We're starting the watch party. I'll be back way before that happens. Watch party Sunday, no live show on Thursday. Here's what's coming up on today's show. The latest Cowboys news and rumors, some Cowboys changes to make. I've got some ideas of how to fix the red zone, the run defense, all that good stuff. Dallas Cowboys Q&A will answer all of your questions, so get them in via Super Chat or via hashtag Cowboys in the comment section. And we will have a Cowboys versus Patriots preview for you guys, and it's the Zeke revenge game, after all. It's all coming up live right now here on the Cowboys Report. A lot of rumors/news to get into today. Here's what we've got. Some Cowboys injury news and updates. We'll discuss the general offensive line, which kind of ties into the injuries, if we're being honest there. I want to spend some time on Mike McCarthy's play calling because I have some issues there. Many of you questioning the tight end play and even where is Brandin Cooks. That's part of it too. And of course, the run defense, which that was the big issue on that side of the football. The offense, I thought, had some bigger problems overall. So let's begin. Will the offensive line be back, all healthy, starting together for the first time with this group in ever? 2 stars. I'm going to put it firmly in that rumor category. The Cowboys haven't always been honest with their injuries and what they say publicly. They're very honest with their reports because they have to be. But Zach Martin tweaked his ankle last week. And the Cowboys swore he's not going to miss any time. He's fine. He's going to play. They swore he's not going to practice Wednesday, but he's going to play. He's going to play. Didn't play. Didn't play at all. I don't even know how close he really was from that perspective. Tyler Biadasz, continuing the Cowboys' cursed Thursdays of hamstring injuries. He's out. He did not play. Tyron Smith was active, unlike Biadasz and Martin, but also did not go. All those guys, I assume, have a shot of playing. I bet Tyron Smith is the closest to being able to go. But even Stephen Jones now being honest with the status of those 3 players this morning, on Monday, with his injury updates. It's possible. We'll just have to see how the week goes. You got to take each guy week to week. Is it possible? Yes. Do we know for sure? Absolutely not. It's a far cry from, he's going to be out there. Martin's going to play. Okay, well, he didn't. It's why I have trust issues. Because the Cowboys do this at least a couple times a year of, player's fine. No, he's not. Now, it's some gamesmanship. Some of it's, I think, just over-optimism. And sometimes I kind of feel like it's outright lying as well. So will the Cowboys actually get their starting 5 offensive linemen healthy for this upcoming game? This is going to be today's pinned comment. So if the ad comes here on YouTube, plays, it's fine. Ignore it. No one cares. Head down to the pinned comment instead. Type in Y for yes, N for no. Let's stick on the offensive line here. Should you put Tyler Smith at left tackle with the context of if Tyron Smith cannot play? I am giving this 4 stars. I think you absolutely have to put Tyler Smith back out there on the left side. Now, we'll go more in depth on this, but first, it is time for the change officially of what the 4 stars on the rumor meter means. Kind of an overwhelming vote when I put it up to a poll on the community page here at the Cowboys Report. No one liked the Yacht Boys cooking. I was kind of disappointed by that one. But not just plurality, but majority put Jimmy in the Ring of Honor. It is long overdue. This is our attempt to bully Jerry Jones and bully the Cowboys into doing the right thing. 4 stars means you got to put Jimmy Johnson in the Ring of Honor. We'll come back to Tyler Smith here, but today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. It's a really simple game to play for daily fantasy sports. You can make picks and submit an entry in less than 60 seconds and turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Prize Pick offers projections on any sport, not just football, basketball, baseball, heck, even esports. Make your game watching experience more fun with Prize Picks. Watch your progress update in real time and up to 25 times your entry amount. You can also cash out your winnings with quick scoring, settling, and withdrawals. Prize Picks is the largest independently owned daily fantasy sports platform in North America. It's the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. You don't have to battle thousands of other players, whether it's pros or sharks or whatever. You simply pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Gave it a shot last week. Dak Prescott, more than 12.5 rushing yards. He hit that one. Michael Gallup, more than 24.5 receiving yards. Pretty easy cash right there. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Links in the comments and the description, but again, it's prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use code CLNS for that first deposit match. All right, back to Tyler Smith here. I do think that Chuma Edoga got better as the game went on, but that first half in particular was really rough, and there's no doubt about it, and Tony Pollard even admitted it. The Cowboys took stuff out of their game plan late in the week because of all the offensive line injuries. Now, Edoga was not dinged for a sack allowed. PFF put both sacks on Prescott, one of which unquestionably was. It was the free rusher. That's on the quarterback to take care of it. You got 5 in, you're blocking 6. Quarterback's got to do something, even though that's not exactly a fun spot to be. But there was one play he just didn't pick up the rusher, and Dak somehow avoided it all together. Edoga, fine as a run blocker, but so was Tyler Smith last year. I think Smith's results at left tackle compared to what Edoga did were better, and I thought Edoga's results at left guard were better than what we saw at left tackle. The run game was fine, especially outside of the red zone, where you actually had great success. It was just the red zone, which we're getting into here, kind of was a big-time problem from that perspective. You got to be better. And if Tyron Smith can't go, put Tyler Smith back at left tackle. I think that is absolutely the way to go for the Dallas Cowboys. Don't miss out on our daily Cowboys video. Subscribe right now. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV, multiple times per day, right here on the channel. All right, let's talk McCarthy and the play calling. Does he get the blame this week? 3 stars. He doesn't get all of the blame. That's not fair. There's a lot of blame to go around. I don't think he called a very good game because I am a masochist. I did go back and watch. There were plenty of all 22s available as well, though the NFL Plus stuff comes out probably Tuesday would be my guess with the way they've been doing stuff there. But a lot of people smarter than me had similar conclusions. I'll call them the film nerds. I mean that in a positive sense. Look, McCarthy took over the play calling this year. And he wanted to take care of business from that perspective. And that's fine. I get that. The results on offense, 3 games, lots of reasons, excuses why they have regressed. Week 2, I thought the red zone execution fault. You couldn't score from the 1. You called the touchdown play twice. Week 3, and I joke about call the touchdown play of get someone open, score, block it right, whatever. Did you really call the touchdown play at all in the red zone outside of the screen on the first trip? I don't think from a passing game concept, I don't think your designs, and I'll group in your route combinations and when you run those and setting them up and all that stuff, I don't think that was very good. Now, Tony Pollard did say that the Cowboys took some stuff out, and I think that was in part because your O-line got decimated kind of late in the week, but I don't think the play calling was very good. I really don't think it was up to par. And I think the Cowboys in general right now have got to do a better job of scheming up other players. And by other players, I mean not CeeDee Lamb. I want to feed him. Don't get me wrong. But I think on third down and red zone looks, you're a little bit too Lamb heavy right now. I don't get me wrong, I want to feed him, but we're 3 games in, and you haven't really called the touchdown play to the wide receiver yet. It's not great. Again, I'm not saying don't feed CeeDee Lamb, but I'm saying if opposing defenses' plans are going to be to take away him with what basically amounts to a lot of double teams on those plays with safety or linebacker short, safety deep, you got to scheme up a Gallup, which you did do a few times. Loved the sluggo route. I'm glad that was called finally. There are positive elements of the offense, namely outside of the 10-yard line, but you got to scheme up somebody else there. Can't just call all, waggles, play action boots, and runs up the middle. You got to do more there. That speed option with Lamb was too telegraphed. Let's check out away from the motion a little bit in the red zone even. I got some doubts. I do. So do you trust Mike McCarthy as the play caller? A for yes, B for no. Go vote for me in the comments section. Some more rumors, and this one a couple of these are more social media based. You're going to bench Jake Ferguson? I'll give this 1 star. I have been whelmed, I'll call it, so far by Ferguson, who has done some good things, also has 3 drops already this year, which is not great. I don't think he's been bad for the Cowboys. I do think to a certain extent you're missing Dalton Schultz a little bit. I think more red zone impact would be ideal. He does have the 1 touchdown already, which is nice. But if defense's game plan is going to be let's take away Lamb on third down and the red zone, you have to figure out something else. And Ferguson's got 10 catches, 70 yards. Shown some flashes in after the catch stuff, and has not been a bad blocker, don't get me wrong. I just want to see more out of the passing offense in general, which we'll get to as part of our changes video here in a little bit. Hendershot, Schoonmaker, I don't know if they're upgrades right now. Down the road, I hope Schoonmaker is, given what you invested in him, but I'm not convinced he's the solution at this moment. So what is your confidence level in Jake Ferguson? Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. Go vote in the comments right now. Let's get to this one. I think we'll all agree here. Safeties struggled against the Arizona Cardinals. It's 4 stars for me. There's no way around it for what the Cowboys did this week in perhaps the most important position group for what this team likes to do on that side of the football. The safeties were bad. They did not come prepared. Look, PFF grades are a data point. They're not the end-all, be-all. They're not gospel. But look at these numbers. And I think it's mostly backed up by the play. Lee Cooker, he was okay. Donovan Wilson was up and down right there. Jaron Kearse, who I'm a big fan of, I thought that was his worst game wearing the star. And he battled through injuries last year, but, man, Jaron Kearse, there were some plays out there, he wasn't going full speed. And then that opening run, he out there jogging a little bit. And you can't have that. And look, Jaron Kearse is kind of the heart and soul of the defense alongside Micah Parsons. I think he's one of the team's veteran leaders on that side of the football. So if he's not playing well, and I think he's kind of, not being locked in all the way, whole defense wasn't really locked in. Started there. Marquise Bell did not play very much. He took some bad run fits. He really did. That's a problem. Your safeties and your linebackers, who we'll get to here, didn't play well. Who do you blame the most on defense in week 3? I think the one guy you can't blame is probably Tank Lawrence. He was awesome. Everyone else was, at best, okay. Maybe some good performances mixed in there. Who do you blame the most, then, on defense in week 3? Sound off in the comment section. Let's talk Leighton Vander Esch here. Oh, you got to bench him. He was terrible. I don't think he played very well. Don't get me wrong. But you can't bench him right now. I thought that we've certainly seen much better performances out of Leighton Vander Esch. That's why I'm giving it the fake news. Unlike Jake Ferguson, who can make an argument of, maybe Hendershot, maybe, Luke Schoonmaker. There's no other argument for Vander Esch right now. Again, he did not play well. I will not, that's not the point of this here. There were times he just looked slow out there. Wasn't going the way we normally see Vander Esch go. But he's been a good player for this Cowboys team. Cost effective. Your safeties look pretty slow too, by the way. But here's the problem. Who are you going to play out there? Damone Clark was around the football a lot more. They tended to run it more at Damone Clark than they did Leighton Vander Esch, by the way. You need him to play better. That was a game where you missed some run fits. I think your safeties didn't always hit those properly. I think Damone Clark missed a few run fits. Vander Esch missed a couple. Your defensive ends did not do a good job of keeping contained. The run defense was all bad, minus DeMarcus Lawrence. And they kind of, I think, like most of us did, mentally checked out after the Dak interception, because who can blame them? You went from a 10% chance to win pre-interception to 4% afterwards. So was the nail in the coffin that had already been laid out there, basically. Look at what Arizona did. James Conner in particular. Do you notice a trend here, folks? We have talked about this for well over a year. You beat the Cowboys, get to the outside on your runs. Run away from DeMarcus Lawrence, at Micah, at Dorrance Armstrong, at Sam Williams, anyone not named Tank Lawrence. Get to the edges. Cowboys safeties, linebackers didn't keep it there contained. You can't play Devin Harper right now on defense. I think that was a game you missed DeMarvion Overshown, by the way. He, of course, is out for the year on IR with an injury. But, look, there's a lot of room to go around on defense. You're not going to bench Leighton Vander Esch, but you do need him to be better moving forward. There's no way around it from that perspective. There is a lot of blame to go around, understandably so. There's maybe 5 guys completely immune to criticism. But you got to be better on defense. The run defense has to improve against New England. All right, give me your one-word reaction to the Cowboys' loss against the Cardinals. One word only. Then we'll get to some of the super chats that have come in here as well. Embarrassing. That's the one I went with. It's an embarrassing loss. Come on. Frankly, both 4:25 games were embarrassing Eastern time. The Bears-Chiefs one was really bad. Anger sucks. Typical, embarrassing, poop, horrible. Yeah, all makes sense. All right, super chats from a tennis ball smack my nuts. Should the Cowboys let Prescott do the play calls? He called a great game for Will Grier, didn't he? I'll say this. I'll answer this in a different fashion, because I've seen this as an actual criticism of, well, McCarthy's play calls are bad, so the quarterback should just audible. If the solution to your offensive woes and your play calling stuff is, well, it's the quarterback's fault, he needs to audible, that's actually a coaching issue and a play calling issue. That's kind of jumping through hoops, and that's not what a tennis ball smack is doing, but that's jumping through hoops to blame the quarterback somehow. If you don't like the play calling, it's coaching, not the quarterback. Michael Sutton. If we don't make it to the NFC Championship game this year, do you think they let Dak go and that's why he hasn't been extended yet? I don't think that's the case. Now, if you have a terrible year, we'll have all the conversations required as part of that, head coach, quarterback, ownership as well. But the Cowboys typically don't do extensions when there's still 2 years left on the deal. Now, that was the big thing with Zach Morrow, right? They don't do it like that. Made some sense to go about it that way. This is the same team that also franchise tagged Dak twice and cost themselves, $7 to $10 million per year. So they keep saying that they want to get it done. Having gone through this contract thing one time already, I need to see them get it done on time for once. So I'm not going to close the door on anything there because they haven't handled contracts, with some exceptions, very well, and under I'll call it the Stephen Jones contract negotiation grouping. $10, dem boys. I'm not seeing any creative schemes with the play calling in the red zone. If you can't isolate CD on the 6th rounder, throw the fade 4 times in a row. Odds are CD wins one. I don't hate it. I will say this, though. You threw the end zone fade to Lamb. And remember I said no one was immune from criticism? CeeDee Lamb did not go up to get the football. He went up to get the flag. Lamb's got to be more aggressive there. But the issue I had with the red zone was you ran the ball really well outside of it, so I get why you wanted to run it. But you kept running the ball, first and goal from the 10, the 11, 9, whatever, and just didn't have success. And you kept doing it. And then you force yourself into 3rd and 6s and 7s in tight spacing with nobody open. It's fine if you can't isolate CeeDee Lamb. Isolate Brandin Cooks. Isolate Michael Gallup. If one guy is drawing attention, you got to scheme for others. I think they're actually a little bit too Lamb dependent right now. Marcus Arnold did Adoga play left tackle to avoid the 3 subs in the middle? I think that's the main argument, plus the fact that Smith practiced all week at left guard. So you wanted to keep a little bit more stability, consistency there. I get why it made sense against Arizona, but next week, you make the change if Tyron Smith cannot go. Chris B., I know it's early, but must win against the Patriots. I wouldn't call it a must win, but you freaking better win. I don't know if that's a big enough of a delineation there. I don't want to enter back-to-back losses when you were looking so great. I kind of want to be right now 3-1. That's what I thought they'd be. Now they got there in different ways, but after New England, it's Niners, Chargers, Rams, Eagles, Giants. Giants will play you better than what they did in week 1, I promise you that. But that with the bye after the Chargers game, I don't want to run the risk of being below 500 going into the bye. And if you lose against the Patriots or at 500 going into the bye, you're there. I don't like that. So it's not must win, but you freaking better win. You are 7-point favorites, by the way. 1, Dustin NC. Can we just get off our high horse and face the facts that we are a work in progress? It's a long season. That is true, to be clear. It certainly is a long season. I think I'm going to phrase it as not so much the high horse angle and more of the, hey, you know what happened? You got cocky again. You've done this every year. You start great, you get hot, you feel good, and you lay an egg. Did it against Denver twice. You kind of did it against the Texans one year, Jacksonville. I really do feel like they didn't take it 100% seriously. Locked in. I do feel that way. Now, I'm sure they'll say something different, but you didn't execute. You made some mistakes. Your game planning wasn't very good. I do think, again, they kind of offensively struggled with the slate loss of offensive linemen. All that's fair. Got to be better. Motivate yourself however you need to. Play the Ryan Day card and say everyone's against you. You can find that in media, Cowboys, so use it, Mike. And hell, you know what, Mike? I will specially DM you a clip saying only negative things about the Cowboys if that motivates you. If that works, I will do it. I will happily do it. I'll take one for the team there. But, you can use the Dallas against the world card. It's available. I feel like this team doesn't use it in the way that they probably should be. Today's Cowboys Report is presented by Manscaped. You guys can get 20% off when you go over to manscaped.com and use promo code Cowboys. All of their top-of-the-line men's grooming products are available. We will be live once again, as we are for every single Cowboys game, for the Cowboys against the Patriots. Hopefully, it is a much, much better and more enjoyable watch than what it was in Week 3. So subscribe to tune in and pay attention, because I got some changes that I think this Cowboys team needs to make. Some of them obvious, like number 1, finish your drives. Now, that's the obvious change. How do you go about making this change? What is going on? Why is it bad all of a sudden? There's a very important thing to remember here from a red zone efficiency standpoint. Last season, touchdowns scored, right? That's what we care about. Hey, we're number 1 overall last year. Now, comparing the total season against what it's been so far isn't exactly fair. So instead, let's compare first 3 weeks of the season. Make note, Cowboys didn't have their starting quarterback out there for those last 2 games, Week 2 and Week 3. The Cowboys last year, because they got to number 1 because Dak was playing really well once he got back, minus the interceptions. 8th, Chargers, 18th. This year, Cowboys are 27th. The Chargers are 8th. It's a complete flip. And there are multiple reasons and or excuses why. Bad weather. You've some missed execution. You were down offensive linemen. All of those things are true. It is never 100% on one blame, but if we're assigning the plurality, if not the majority, biggest one is Mike McCarthy. That's been the single biggest change to this Cowboys offense. And look, Week 1, Week 2, especially Week 2, hey, you got conservative, that's fine. I get it. You're up by 20. You can run the football. It's fine. But when you're down by 2 scores and you got 5 minutes or less to play, and you're going to run the football 5 times in a row in the red zone, I don't know what you're doing. That doesn't make sense to me. I think that's bad decision-making. And don't start on the quarterback's trouble. No, if your solution to the problem is the quarterback has to audible every play, that's the Romo Garrett BS. That's a coaching issue. So don't lean so much on CeeDee Lamb. Don't only run the play-action waggle. Use some motion. You had a touchdown. You've called touchdown plays before that were dropped. Ferguson, I think KaVonate Turpin probably would have scored on one of them. The tight end jet sweep, all that's fine. First and goal from the 10 with a backup offensive line. Now time to call duo. Call inside zone, whatever. You got to get more creative in your passing game in the red zone. I think they're too predictable and leaning too much on that Lamb bailing out the offense when they can take it away in the red zone. It's easier when there's less space. So today's pinned comment, what is your confidence level in Mike McCarthy calling the plays? Scale it for me from 1 on the low end to 10 on the high end. Let's go to defense here. And again, this one's very obvious. Figure out the outside runs. It's not the first time we've talked about this. You can go back to after Week 1 when Leonard Fournette 2 years ago just ran all over the Dallas Cowboys, or a year ago, whatever it was. The chart looks staggeringly similar to what James Conner did. Do you notice the trend? Everything's outside the hashes. Everything's wide. I am disappointed by Mozzie Smith not playing that much. There were a couple bad reps by Hankins in there too. Don't get me wrong. But the playbook on beating the Cowboys defense is out there. It's tough to do. Cardinals did it to perfection. Outside runs. Go away from DeMarcus Lawrence. He's an elite run-stopping defensive end. He was awesome against Arizona. Go outside. Use the Cowboys' over-aggression against themselves. You saw Micah Parsons crash in on a read option keeper. He shouldn't have done that, right? You saw Dante Fowler, Sam Williams not keeping contained. Lawrence Armstrong was silent, basically, against Arizona. You did have some mistakes up front on the interior. Hankins missed a couple, but teams are going to run to the outside. That's going to be their plan. So you've got to have your run fits set properly. Your linebackers and your safeties did not do that. I thought in particular for this run defense, there were some late adjustments by Dan Quinn. I thought that the fundamental sound football, flow to the football, get off blocks, wasn't there. I thought there were some execution woes in your back seven, in particular your linebackers and safeties. Got to be better moving forward. Good news, folks, it is fresh ball fall, and you need to be in the festive spirit. So light a candle, get some pumpkin spice, whatever food you're going to eat, and make sure your balls look nice with today's sponsor, Manscaped. Head over to manscaped.com and use promo code Cowboys for 20% off the Performance Package 4.0. Bring in fall right and get that special deal by using promo code Cowboys over at manscaped.com. The Performance Package 4.0 has the Lawnmower 4.0 with the advanced skin-safe technology that helps to reduce nicks and cuts and makes, we'll say, raking the leaves a lot less painful. Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, Crop Reviver Ball Spray Toner. Manscaped's the most comfortable boxers known to mankind. Tend to wear them on game days. It's a long day, and I want to feel comfortable. So get 20% off and free shipping when you use promo code Cowboys over at manscaped.com. As the leaves fall, make sure you have it all with Manscaped. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. Some changes to make, and this is kind of an overarching one that relates to your entire offense. Find a way to get into fewer third downs. Now, I'll talk about the overarchingness here, and then number 4 will be one way to help avoid that. The Cowboys buy downs this year. So we've got EPA per play, expected points added, factors in a lot of like where you are in the field. For example, that Dak interception was like -5 EPA because you're probably going to get at least 3, maybe more, and the defense takes over the 20. So it's worth a lot of negative points, right? Maybe even -6, actually. Success rate. First down, can you get enough yards? Keep yourself ahead of the chains, right? Coach talk about that. That's what success rate is. First down, they've been pretty solid. 9th in EPA, 8th in success rate. Second down, 20th in EPA, 24th in success rate. That's not very good. You run the ball a little bit more on second down. If your first down play doesn't work, they have a tendency to go to that and getting yourselves into where they've been elite this year. Third downs, they have been special. The problem is they have a massive volume. They have the 4th most third down attempts in the NFL. They are 3rd in conversions, 8 per game. These are all rate numbers, so they might adjust a little bit based on the Monday Night Football results, but we're doing this on Monday, of course. It's rate numbers. It's relatable there. 4th in conversion rate, 51.1%. And that's a great number. Don't get me wrong. If you're converting 50% of your third downs, you're one of the best third down teams in the NFL. But that means you're going to fail on every other one. So if you're setting yourself up for a lot of these long, sustained drives, that's what the Cowboys are doing with all this short shit in the passing game, you're not getting the explosive plays. You ask any of these smart play callers right now around the NFL, the number one thing they want is explosive plays. The smart defensive coordinators want to avoid explosive plays allowed because, as it turns out, it is much harder to have an 11-play 75-yard drive than a 5-play 75-yard drive because you're going to convert on about 50% if you're good on third downs. You have to stop getting in so many third downs. You have to stop the penalties. There are ways to do that, but it requires you to be more aggressive, which we'll come back to here. What singular change, sit somebody, start somebody, coaching, philosophical thing, what change would you make for the Dallas Cowboys? Go vote for me in the comments right now. Number 4, you have got to be more aggressive on offense. Here are the numbers. ADOT, average depth of target. How far downfield are you throwing the football? Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys are second to last in average depth of target, behind Anthony Richardson, or ahead of Anthony Richardson, behind Bryce Young, Josh Dobbs, and Joe Burrow pre-Monday Night Football, by the way. That is a stark difference from anything we have ever seen out of Dak Prescott in the past. Previous 5 years, all these numbers per the NFL's next-gen stats, by the way, 8.3, 8.0, 8.0, 9.4 in large part because your defense was terrible and you were chucking it, 7.6. So at minimum, 2 yards less downfield with this offense. This is a staple of the West Coast offense. But it can't all be short shit. And that's what this has become. Let's look at this next stat here. Passing depth. The 4 typical metrics here. This is based on the first 3 games, 2023 and 2022, the first 3 games with Dak Prescott, knowing that the bad Week 1 Bucks is also included in there. You've got behind the line of scrimmage has over doubled in the usage. That's, you know what? The screens are working. Okay. It's a lot, though. Your 0 to 9 yards is played pretty steady. Your 10 to 19 yards has dropped by 10%. That middle of the field stuff where, by the way, quarterback had some great success with, especially once they stopped the option routes, it's gone. Your deep stuff has gone away. Now, there are reasons and excuses, right? They definitely took some stuff out in the Week 3 playbook. Tony Pollard has said that because of the injuries. Week 1 was really bad rainstorm. You know what? I get it. That's fine. The Jets, you were up big, but we're 3 games in, man. You can't just keep running the short shit if you're losing. You have to be, because teams are going to sit on it. You ran the sluggo one time. That's awesome. It should have been PI. You do need explosive plays, though, and it can't all be after the catch stuff. Maybe they're worried about the offensive line. Maybe they're just trying to get the ball quickly because of that, which is, there's probably some truth to that. But also, where the hell is Brandin Cooks? You're not really looking his way very much. You actually have speed on offense, and you're just not going to scheme stuff up for him? This should be 1 game minimum of Brandin Cooks. Get in the football. Cooks was cooking. They were taking shots downfield in camp, and the Cowboys were having some success. You can't call a single go ball to Brandin Cooks when you get some single coverage. Come on. You cannot only do short stuff. You're going to have great accuracy numbers. You're going to be, which is what's been so far. You're putting ahead of the normal rate. All that stuff is great. You have to do some middle of the field stuff. They did nothing against Arizona. They threw 1 ball over the middle. It was the bad interception from Prescott. You have to do some of that. You have to have the backside dig in your playbook. That is a must throw in the modern day NFL. And Mike's not calling it. That's a huge problem. It's a huge problem. Now, if you want Brandin Cooks more involved, type me in the comment section right now. I got some more players who need to be involved on offense. Been over a day now. Where's KaVonate Turpin? Where's Deuce Vaughn on offense? The usage plummeting makes no sense. Week 1, KaVonate Turpin, 11 snaps, 3 carries, 2 catches, a touchdown. It's like, yes, the Cowboys are going to use KaVonate Turpin on offense. It fell back in week 2, but the snaps are up there. He played 2 snaps on offense. Why was that out of the game plan altogether? You clearly made it a focal point in week 1. Why wasn't it in week 2? Deuce Vaughn, garbage time in week 1, got involved in week 2, 3 carries, 16 yards, 3 catches, 16 yards, didn't play a snap on offense. I think you can get Hunter Lipke more involved if you so choose. How do you go from these guys being in your game plan to both of them out of it all together? Doesn't make sense. We complained about Kellen Moore not getting KaVonate Turpin involved. And what Mike McCarthy's doing is worse for me because he showed he can do it, and then he took it away. Make it make sense. Change that, please, Mike. I'm begging you. All right, record prediction time. Sound off in the comments section here for me. Predict the Cowboys record. Some super chats we'll get to here. Abbas is the most recent one. Glenn says, Shane, despite his BMI, start Tom Downey at center. This feels like attempted murder, Glenn. Like, I ain't surviving a football game at center. You're going to toss me out there against... You're probably try to start me against the Rams, aren't you? It's me versus Aaron Donald. First snap, second snap. Game's canceled because a player died on the field, and it's me. All right, Abbas, $2. Is Cooks underutilized? Yeah, he is. Maybe if the O-line gets healthy, they'll push it downfield more, but I don't think all this short stuff is the way to go about winning football games. At least not most of them. Chris B. Tom, the way McCarthy's calling plays essentially in the red zone feels to me like McCarthy doesn't trust Dak running the ball with 3 minutes left. It at least invites that question. Does it not? But I also think, I'm going to go with, it was just bad. Regardless of who your quarterback is, if you have Zach Wilson out there, you have to go. That you are down 2 scores, 5 minutes to go. That is not the time to be like, yes, let's do a sustained 12-play, 4-minute drive. What? You got the ball with 7:22 to go. Run. Big pass to Gallup. Pass. Run. Got the first down. Cool. Pass. Offsetting penalties, which was kind of weird. Incomplete pass. Run. Well, now it's 3rd and goal from the 6. And, that's not a fun spot to be in. Now, at that point, your win probability at that, right before the interception, had dropped down to, checking my numbers here on ESPN, had dropped down to 10% win probability, which is about what it was when you started that drive with a little over 7 minutes to go in the football game. It was at 8% before that. So you'd marched all the way down the field, but you took so much time off the clock, you barely boosted your chances of winning the football game. Running the ball there makes no sense. And honestly, if Mike feels that way, that's a fireable offense. You've got a quarterback who is top 10 in fourth quarter comeback opportunities, or results, I should say. Top 10 in game-winning drives. You got to go score. And honestly, and this is kind of the paradox of it, if you keep putting yourself in third downs, you're actually making it harder on your quarterback. First and 10 is easier than 3rd and 6, guys. That's just math. Abja Pawar, think the bad play calling was a result of Mike not trusting his O-lineman to protect Dak, or because he doesn't trust Dak? I think the offensive line, more than anything. Pollard's admitted that they took stuff out of the game plan because they lost to Tyron Smith, and 3 offensive linemen's not very good. You're down 3 starters. I don't know what the numbers are across the NFL. I would bet that the win percentage of down 3 starters on the offensive line is probably 10%. I don't have the numbers there. It's a complete guess, but it's probably somewhere around there. There are not teams built to survive that regardless of the level of opponent. But I do think offensive line was the main one from that perspective. And I'll say this part too, though. You didn't scheme the easy throws. Even for all that short shit in the red zone where the space goes away, you can go back and look at all those red zone pass attempts. There's nobody open. I get there flooding the zone, and you can beat that by running the football, but you couldn't run the football. You got to do something else. There was nobody open. Nobody. All right, mailbag time coming up here. 2 ways to get on the show. Number 1, use hashtag Cowboys. Number 2, you can super chat. You can, some of the good super chats, feel free to go to. But get your questions in, hashtag Cowboys or super chat. If you use hashtag Cowboys, it gets you in the queue. That way, producer Chris can find your question. If you don't use hashtag Cowboys, well, you're going to get buried in all the questions and comments, and you're never going to get called up there. So get your questions in, hashtag Cowboys, or super chat like Abjad Pawar just did in the comments section. We've got a super thanks to get to begin today's show from Marcus Arnold. Thanks. The defense played bad, but this game is on the offense. More so, look at the play calling. He called plays like a starting offensive line, at least 18 points on the field. Stats debate the banded off Tyron 2 years ago. I do think that Mike actually called it more conservatively. Like, there was not much stuff downfield, and there were a couple of really bad reps where, like, oh no, Chuma Doga didn't block anybody. Like, what are you going to do? Like, that's not a play calling, it's an offensive line execution part, right? I do think the play calling was bad in the red zone. They moved the ball really well outside of it, but your O-line didn't block well run blocking-wise in the red zone. You can go back and look. There's contact made in the backfield. It's not a good thing. And your design, scheming, etc. just wasn't good. I think you're too reliant on Lamb. Tyron's played well. He's played really well the first 2 weeks, but you've got to find a way to keep him healthy or have a better backup plan. All right, super thanks from D Warrior. We did edit a little bit from that perspective. I thought the run game was great, but overall the game plan seemed weak. He later clarified his spelling. Team is momentum-driven, and a West Coast system works well when you're up, with the defense getting takeaways, doing their job, still doing these short passes. Got to scheme CD open more. Defensively got to support the run game. We've always had issues, but our hot takeaway defense mask it. Not wrong on that last part, too, by the way. I would almost say you're too reliant on scheming Lamb open, but defense is trying to take him away. That's fine. That's what they should be doing. Scheme Cooks. You scheme Gallup some. You have to be able to have more than just CD Lamb targets on third downs. You had one nice Cooks one. I think you have to do more. It can't all be Lamb in the slot. You should feed him, but you have to do more things on that side of the football. I'm still wanting more out of this McCarthy offense. All right, folks, you're seeing some super thanks here. It's a way to donate outside of live videos. Click the thanks icon, edit your message however you need to, and then send it in. We appreciate all of your support here, so if you do it, you of course don't have to, we will give you a shout out on every show that we can. 5 more super thanks from Austin Connor. I'm not a superstitious person, but I'm beginning to believe the Jimmy Johnson curse is real. Can we get fans to start randomly chanting Jimmy's name at home games? Feels like Jerry's ego couldn't handle that. He definitely could not. I love that idea. I don't know if you can get fans to do it. Everyone go to a game and try to, I promise you. Meanwhile, is the Jimmy Johnson curse real? You know, we're changing the 4 stars on the rumor heads to reflect Jimmy Johnson should be in the Ring of Honor. We're trying to bully the Cowboys. Do you believe, serious, non-troll answers only, do you believe in the Jimmy Johnson curse? Y for yes, N for no. Abjad Pawar, Mike McCarthy became Jason Garrett. Let Dak call the plays. The insistence on the run game does not disprove my the call was coming from inside the house theories that the Jones boys want to win football the way they want to win football, like we did with Emmett and Aikman and the Great Wall of Dallas, and run the football. Like, that scares me. Also, I'll say this, and like he's being positive here. In general, if your solution to your offensive woes are the quarterback has to call the plays, you got to get a new play caller in there. That's what that means. It means your coach ain't good enough. That's not that's not a fine short-term solution. It's not a long-term one. Fargate 01, I think more Hunter Lipke blocking inside the red zone. He's been pretty good. I'm not opposed to it. I think he can have some success getting Lipke involved, even not just blocking, runs, catches. Like, you got to have some creativity. It's not just duo and boot actions. It's kind of all you've done so far in the red zone. I need more. And the one telegraphed Lamb option play, like, I need more, Mike. I need more. Chris B, I'm sorry, but even though we're down 3 linemen, don't take stuff out of the playbook. You really trust McCarthy's having a place to work out? Ain't no Shanahan. I mean, I don't trust the plays to work out. But not making adjustments is also how the Chaz Green disaster happened, where the Cowboys were like, we're just not going to chip and help. Had to chip and help with Chaz Green out there left tackle, and Adrian Campbell being on the same play every time. They didn't bench him until his game was over. So you do have to make adjustments. It's not an easy spot to be in. I do want to emphasize that. but certainly the results were not what the Cowboys what they needed to have. Now, if you want to have some fun and good results, check out the newest Cowboys Report sponsor. That is Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. You're not battling thousands of other players, pros, sharks, etc. You just pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Make your game watching experience more fun with Prize Picks. Watch your progress update in real time and win up to 25 times your amount or your entry amount. You can also cash out with winnings, with quick scoring, settling, and withdrawals. They also offer weekly promotions to make it even more fun. And yes, by the way, folks, I am taking Ezekiel Elliott more than touchdowns this week in his revenge game. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Link will be in the comments and the description of today's show. But again, it's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use that code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Moxie's mix into Cardinals for the Jets game and figured out how to stop him in the red zone. I mean, it probably helped, right? They flooded the zones. I don't want to take away credit from like the Cardinals. Like that was really good. What they did, I think it helped. Cowboys, I thought, helped them as well. You know what I mean? Daniel Moriarty, after seeing what happened yesterday, and it's you need more help stopping the run, we desperately need another cornerback. Do you need another cornerback, by the way? We'll see if Pro Football Reference ends up with different numbers, but let me just read off the PFF coverage numbers and who got dinged for the yards, right? Your yards allowed leaders. Malik Hooker, 1 for 69, so they blamed him for the big pass play. J-Ron Curse, all 4 targets for 38 yards. Deron Bland, 2 for 26. It was a great catch by Marquise Brown, right? Stephon Gilmore, 2 of 4 for 25 yards. Jordan Lewis, 2 of 4 for 5 yards. Your safeties didn't play very well. So I'm looking at Hooker and Curse. I think you'll be okay with Lewis, Bland, and Gilmore. You have to be able to fit in the run. Honestly, I love this team's safeties. I thought they were a major liability for the first time in a long time against Arizona. For the truth, JC forever. Where are the drag routes with the wide receivers? I don't know. Run mesh one time. Now mesh tends to work better in man coverage, but you still have to pass it off in the zone. Run mesh one time. This team for years has despised mesh. I don't get it, man. If teams are going to kind of double Lamb, send them on the drag and bring Cooks underneath. One time. That's all I'm asking for. I think JC's right. I don't get it. I don't get it. Andrew, you must sign or trade for a starting offensive lineman, right? I mean, the problem is there's no starting offensive lineman available, and the trade options are who's out there. You got to feasibly get. I'd love to get one. I also think the time to do that was 5 months ago when the Cowboys were like, we're fine. We don't need anybody. Matt Farnick's going to be our 6th offensive lineman, and he's on a practice squad for the worst team in the NFL in Chicago because he was so bad he didn't make the team. I think they kind of misjudged some of their own talent, and I don't know. I'd love to get one. I don't know who it is. So name a player who you want to trade for. Any player, doesn't be offensive line, by the way, it could be any position group. Go name a player who you would love to see the Dallas Cowboys get. Kevin the Destroyer, debacle in the desert. It says the odds are sponsor is amazing. Went 20-4 on football picks over the weekend. DC for life. Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate that. Michael Sutton, if we don't make it to the NFC Championship game this year, I think they let Dak go, and that's why he hasn't been extended yet. I think the main reason is Dallas doesn't like doing new deals with 2 years left on them. Very few examples of that. They've also dragged their feet consistently when players want the market rate. They'll pay in advance if you want to go less than. They didn't pay Lamb either when I would have loved them to, but he has 2 years left on his deal as well. But it leaves the door open, doesn't it? And with the way the Cowboys have handled the Dak contract, and they've handled it poorly, to be clear, I have to see it before I believe it, you know? Chris B. Tom, say the offense looks the exact same going into the bye week. Is there a chance of a play caller change, and who would it be? There is a chance of it, yes. Mike's ass is on the line this year. He has to win, and he has to win big. That's a high bar. It's probably not a fair bar, but it is the bar. If the offense continues to just be bad in the red zone, and it's because your O-line isn't blocking and you're calling bad plays, yeah. The answer, by the way, is Brian Schottenheimer. He'd be the next play caller. I don't know if that's necessarily a positive thing. Maybe it is. Try it if it's bad, or if it gets worse, maybe. I will say, you've moved the ball well outside of the 10. You know what I think about it? It's a perfect analogy for this Cowboys football team. They're actually awesome. They're one of the best football teams at getting to the 10-yard line on offense. They're one of the best football teams in getting into the playoffs. And then once they get there, it all falls apart for different reasons every time. The perfect analogy. Now, if you love our Cowboys mailbags, then subscribe right now. We'll have mailbags once a week on each of our live shows, this one being filmed, of course, on our Monday live show. Hit that sub button if you haven't already. For the truth, JC forever. Will Zeke run a little more angry this Sunday to get revenge on the Cowboys? I mean, I wouldn't be shocked by it. I am convinced Zeke's going to score a touchdown. That's why I took the more than on Prize Picks. I am convinced he's going to score at least one. Lance Dunbar's burner. You think Schottenheimer is more to blame or Mike? I mean, it's got to be Mike. To be honest, guys, Mike's had a scapegoat every year, right? It was Mike Nolan. Not every year, but close to it. It was Mike Nolan. It was Kellen. I think you're calling the plays. It's on Mike. That we talked about it before the year began. If things don't go well, isn't that on the head coach who's taken over the play calling? Now, there might be some excuses why maybe that's not the case. Whatever. But that would be why. I would blame Mike. Abbas, thanks for everything. How about Garrett Bowles? Not a bad one. Let me see what his contract status looks like here real quick. Denver's terrible, by the way. It's kind of a dumpster fire right now. He's sad in Denver, is what he is. It's about $14 million for Garrett Bowles. That's tough. Denver probably have to eat some of it. From Steven, is Mozzie Smith a bust? I think it is perfectly fine to be disappointed that your first round pick has played 40 snaps or something this year. That's not enough. But it's too early to call him a bust. So are you panicking over Mozzie Smith? 1 for yes, 0 for no. I'm not panicking. He's a project player. It takes time. This woman's fine, but you got it. I'm not calling him a bust yet. Sound off for me. 1 for yes, 0 for no. Manster 54. Didn't look like they had too many receivers in the end zone. Like a log jam in the same spot. Spread them out. And there was the boot action plays all roll to the right. So, going to get crowded there. I'll take it one step further. There was nobody open. What do you want the quarterback to do if there's nobody open? Throw it away. Well, that's what he kept doing. Dustin Rushing. Cowboys need to use Deuce Vaughn more in the red zone more often. He's got 3 touches in the red zone in the preseason. Awesome first down catch. Touchdown run. I don't disagree. Now, if we did not get to your question, our apologies, but there was so many coming in. We can't get to them all. You can always DM me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney. The Twitter handle link, or X, whatever we're going to call it, will be in the comments of today's show in the description as well. I'm curious how we vote here. Will the Cowboys win the NFC East? Y for yes, N for no. This result does not help you, by the way, because I think the Eagles are going to beat the Cardinals once they play. They're a scrappy team, but that might come into play in tiebreakers if you tie in the division. Barbara says yes. Matt Hervey says yes. Abbas says yes. Leroy Pearson says no. Ricky says yes. Cole says yes. Star Power says yes. Jed says no. Dancing Dak says no. Cam says the refs suck balls. They did. Not why you lost. The factor, they were terrible. Both things can be true. Dustin says yes. No. A lot of no's in there. Maybe if Tampa can help us out tonight, we'll feel better about it. I don't feel great about Tampa helping you out tonight. Ozzy Pawar, overall, how were the wide receivers in terms of separation? It is a better group for it this year. I think Gallup looks better as well. But I thought with kind of a flooded zone concept, I don't think the Cowboys had good zone beaters. Now, some of those long third downs, your zone beaters, they take a while to develop. That backside dig throw, which you got to hit in the NFL, that play takes time. With three backup offensive linemen in there, I would not be surprised if that was one of the plays that they took out of the playbook. Like, you can't really do those deep routes when you don't trust the offense line. So there's a lot of reasons, excuses why, but it's been 3 different games with 3 different reasons or excuses to why they have not had the downfield stuff yet. And at a certain point, is it just going to be your offense? You're just not going to throw it downfield? I don't know. All right, will the Cowboys win the offensive line or the NFC East? Y for yes, N for no. I think it's mostly. Let's make that the way in 2. Hold on here. Y for yes, N for no. I think I want to. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Actually, go ahead and just get rid of the Giants version for that. Make it a way in 2 and just do Jets Cardinals. I'll get some shout-outs here. Sorry, I'm making a quick change to our next segment. Y for yes, N for no. No's from Ronald, beloved Brina, Slap Battles, Roblox. Sunshine Tan Lines, FM says no. D Stout says no. Hey, Carrie Ann says yes. Star Power, Ricky all saying yes. Miguel says no. Jeffinator 87, which I want to believe is the real Jeff Swaim, by the way. He's probably not. Says no. Ecuador Man says no. Brent, I will answer after tonight. That's fair. Ethan the Boss says yes. Seabass says no. Eric Romo says no. El Maddox says no. Wild card. Steven says no. We'll get to Chris B's super chat here momentarily. In the background there. Ethan the Boss says yes. Ty says yes. Michael, no. Ronald, I think I said Ronald, no. If I didn't, I'm sorry. Other ones I missed here. Alumni, Kazakh's Mix says N. Let's go to Chris B super chat, then we'll start the preview portion of today's show. It's mostly no's. Yeah, I think it's perfectly fair for the confidence to be shattered after last week. I get it. It's fair. Chris B. Even if the Bucs somehow beat the Eagles, this loss would piss me off even more. This is a game that will haunt us later in the year like last year. You'll have those games pretty much every year. And you are not the Chiefs. I'm preface by saying that. The Chiefs said the same thing all year. How did we lose to the Colts? Kind of what happened this week. Cardinals might be a bit better than the Colts relative end of the year. We'll see. Cowboys are not as good as the Chiefs. Because, you don't have Andy Reid and Mahomes. Turns out 2 most important spots. If they're better than you, they're a better football team. But it happens. What you can't do, though, this week is follow it up with another loss against the Patriots. Let's preview it. The like numbers do not lie. Against the Jets, we had 3,598 likes on our preview. Against the Cardinals, 3,308. The Cowboys beat the Jets. They lost to the Cardinals. Don't be the 200 and 300 people, whatever you want to say, who do not like the video and results in the Cowboys losing against Patriots. The data proves it. 3,600 likes, the Cowboys are guaranteed to win. So like the video if you want the Cowboys to win in Week 2 against the Patriots. Let's get to our Week 4 preview. Early lines. The Cowboys are a 7-point favorite against the New England Patriots as Ezekiel Elliott comes to town. The scoring offense, scoring defense results before Monday Night Football. While this might change a little bit, the Patriots are the 26th scoring offense. They've not been very good in that area. Their defense, though, is a top 10 unit. And remember, as we'll get into, the Patriots did shut down a loaded Dolphins offense. The Cowboys were number 1 and number 2 across the board, or actually number 1s across the board. And then, well, the Cardinals game happened. The Cowboys had 2 very easy wins. 40-0 against the Giants, 30-10 against the Jets. They hit some adversity, and they really, really struggled against Arizona, 28-16. You can't have it in back-to-back weeks. Against a Patriots team that is probably the best team you faced this season. The Lions certainly say that. The Eagles, they should have won that football game. They had it. They had 2 great chances to win, and they came up short. They held a Dolphins offense that scored 70 this week to 24, and they almost came back and won that game. And it was ugly against the Jets. There was some rain in that game too. They won 15-10. I fully expect this week, folks, to be a defensive dogfight. Which means there'll probably be some 31-30 BS or something crazy because I'm always wrong or whatever. The Patriots have a great defense, and they are very smart about making life challenging on your offense. A Bill Belichick versus Mike McCarthy battle, that favors Belichick. Hopefully a Bill O'Brien, Dan Quinn matchup favors Dan Quinn by more. So who you got winning in this one? C for the Cowboys, P for the Patriots. It's the pinned comment on today's show, so if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and go vote. Let's hit the injury news and updates. Of course, before the Cowboys practice on Wednesday, Zach Martin. And the Cowboys aren't honest with you sometimes with injuries. They leaked, Martin's fine. He's going to play. He would have come back in the football game. He's good to go. He's going to play. Oh, he's out. He's going to play this week? Can't guarantee it. The Thursday injury curse that has hit the Cowboys every week this year hit Tyler Biadasz as well as, of course, Trayvon Diggs last week. Hamstring injury. Cowboys said he was fine. They leaked to Schefter. He's fine. Well, he didn't play. Going to play this week? I hope so. It's a dangerous Patriots front. You've got, honestly, 5 of the best pass rushers playing in this football game from a pressure rate perspective, and it's not all the Cowboys. Josh Uche is a nightmare this year. That means Tyron Smith, I hope, is out there. And he was active in Week 3 after he tweaked his knee on Saturday. He looked very angry, but it's not like you're going to be smiling when you're down by 2 scores in the fourth quarter anyway. He did not play after tweaking that knee on Saturday, which we can get mad at Mike all we want for the injuries happening. It's bad. It can't keep happening. It's a Saturday workout. Ain't nothing you can do there. That's just shit luck. It's what's been going on for these injuries here. Cowboys were down 3 starters on the offensive line last week. That's not good. It is very tough to win football games when you're down 3 starters. I don't know what the exact results are if you're down 3 O-line starters. I bet it's less than a 10% win rate. So of the starting 5 offensive line, how many play this week? Do we get 5 for the first time ever with this unit? Is it down to 2 again? Sound off for me in the comments section right now. All right, key to victory number 1. Wake up, defense. Come on. This is a team that is supposed to be built around its defense. It's not 2019, where if you're allowing 28 points, that was actually probably one of your better games. No, you have to be better. You cannot look so lethargic out there against the run. The Patriots are going to run the football, do short passes. It's quick game. It's on the ground. That's how you beat this Cowboys defense. So take advantage of it. Be prepared and take care of business against a not that great offense. Better than it was under Matt Patricia, but not a great offense. Now, today's Cowboys Report is sponsored by AG1. I have AG1 literally every day. Get comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition at drinkag1.com/chatsports. I gave AG1 a try because I wanted better gut health and a supplement that actually tastes great. I take AG1 in the morning, and it makes me feel prepared to take on my day. Once baby Olivia has her breakfast, which sometimes it's just a yogurt, sometimes it's pancakes, it's kind of all over the place these days. Once that's taken care of, I make my own AG1. I don't feel the need for caffeine in the morning anymore, and I feel energized all throughout the day. Plus, AG1 empowers the gut for whole body health. Covering my nutritional basis for the day literally couldn't be any easier. Well, I trust AG1. I mix one small scoop of water and drink it first thing each morning. I'm done just like that, and I like that it costs less than $3 a day. It's a pretty good deal, if you ask me. It's a really effective daily habit with the highest quality sourced ingredients. It's the old win-win. So if a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then AG1 is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/chatsports. That's drinkag1.com/chatsports. Links in the comments and in the description of today's show. All right, key to victory number 2. You got to stop the outside run. Ties into number 1, right? That is where the Cardinals beat you. They beat you with outside runs, away from Tank Lawrence, getting to the edge, getting out in space, where your safeties and your linebackers weren't flowing very well, and their run fits weren't that great. I think it was mainly execution-based in week 3, but you have to, if execution's bad, coaching staff has to step up too. James Conner, they ran left, and it worked. Now look at what Zeke did last week, by the way. I am convinced, by the way, Zeke's going to score a touchdown against you. We're all going to lose our minds, win or lose. That's how football works. Now, you can see the rush yards over expectation. Big results there from James Conner, plus 32. Now, Elliott had 16 for 80 yards, plus 5. You know why that number is different? Because when healthy, it's a pretty good Cardinals run-blocking offensive line. Now, they mostly ran left, not quite as much to the outside. It's not where Zeke is quite as good, but they mostly angled it left. I think they'll do the exact same thing and run away from Tank Lawrence. Pick the score for me of the Cowboys against the Patriots. I will have my prediction later on in today's show, but sound off in the comments. I think we'd all agree on these last two. You got to convert in the red zone. You cannot continue to have the problems that you are having against better competition. The Cowboys, frankly, are elite outside of the 10. It's a perfect analogy for this team overall. Outside the 10, regular season, they're awesome. Into the 10, it's the playoffs. You'll get some field goals. You'll win the wild card round. Then you kind of collapse for different reasons, seemingly every drive or playoff game. You've been near the bottom of the league entering Monday Night Football in red zone touchdown scoring. Been awful. It's into the 10 in particular, because your lone touchdown against the Cardinals really came at the 15, where you had some more space. That might be your main issue right now, which again, that's a coaching issue as far as I'm concerned. Bottom 6 teams in red zone touchdown scoring. Texans, Bucks entering Monday Night Football, Titans, Jets, Saints, the Cowboys. Those are bad football teams, folks. Now, Tampa's won some games. Houston upset the Jags. The Jets have Zach Wilson. The Saints have been kind of mediocre. They're okay. They're not terrible. The Titans are a terrible offense. You have to finish drives. You've done a great job moving the football. You could easily have been Team 30, 40 burger in all your games if you finished off drives. You haven't. You have to get it sorted out soon. You have to. Now, we will have a live watch party for you guys right here on the channel between the Cowboys and the Patriots. So make sure you are subscribed. YouTube.com/CowboysTV. Key victory number 4. And this does kind of tie into your supporting cast, your O-line, etc. But it's Dak. The Dak discourse is gone. It's been gone for 3 years now. It's just hot take. Have to outplay Mac Jones today. Sunday. Have to do it. Prescott's average per attempt, not that great. Again, that happens when your ADOT is less than that number. It's been a lot of short shit so far. But he's been, honestly, outside of the bad interception, he has not had very many bad plays. Now, you need more big plays is what you need. Mac Jones, a little bit worse than Dak across the board. He's had some success. He had a bunch against the Eagles, by the way. He had a lot of those middle-of-the-field zones and found Hunter Henry a bunch. Dak's a better quarterback. Doesn't mean he'll play better. Doesn't mean you'll win. But if he does play better, you'll probably win. Number 5, the damn penalty boys are back, folks. They reared their ugly head. And by the way, if that game against the Cardinals felt like that 2021 49ers game in the playoffs, which it did to me a little bit, I realized why. The same ref. Funny how the same head ref. Funny how that works out there. But a good enough amount of those flags, they were flags. You can't have it. So we're bringing back the bullying of the penalty boys. Type flags in the comment section if you want to bully the Dallas Cowboys into committing fewer penalties. As promised, my score prediction. Bill Belichick normally has his team up to snuff and playing well against better competition. I do not have the Cowboys covering. I have them winning 23-20 in a narrow, ugly, hard-fought defensive struggle. And if you can get a win, better than what you had last week. All right, do you trust Mike McCarthy as the play caller? Keep the flags coming in. I have to bring it back. I do owe 40 push-ups, by the way, which I think I'll do for the Patriots game. I'll do them early on in that game. 40-ish. I don't know what the number is. I was very upset in that game. Because again, in-game tweets, in-game comments don't count. Do I lose my mind some during Cowboys games? You're damn right I do. I refuse to change that. Elmatic 7 super chat coming in here. Is it time to panic regarding Dan Quinn's run defense? The way he lines the boys up leaves huge gaps. You do have players to fit those gaps, though. And if they don't fit them, run fits. I'll tell you what. It was the Mike Nolan year. I have never spent more time or learned more about run fits than that year. Because I'm like, what is Mike Nolan doing? And there were some bad schemes in there, but he's not here anymore. But one of your linebackers refused to fit the holes properly. You can figure out who that is. I don't feel like bodying him any more than I already have. So you do have players to fit those run holes, but if one of them gets sucked up and you haven't loaded the box, not great. Concern, yes. Panic, no. Leroy Pearson Jr., based off our inactives, do we field a team playing down to the Cardinals, and what is your perception of the defense after the game? Even with the inactives, you played down to your competition. You were 11.5-point favorites, and they reverse covered the spread on you. It's not very good. You are one of the most disappointing teams in the NFL in Week 3. I think a great way to determine that is let's go back and look at the worst results against the spread, right? Worst 4 teams. Against the spread, Bears, minus 18.5 result. They got blown out, and they were heavy underdogs. The Titans, minus 20.5 against the spread. Underdogs got blown out. Cowboys, 23.5. Favorites, and got reverse covered. The Jags, 27.5 difference in the spread. They were favorites and also lost by more and got beat up. The Commanders, underdogs, got blown out. They were only 5.5-point favorites, or underdogs, by the way, and they got spanked, minus 28.5. And the Broncos were minus 44 against the spread. They were minus 44 points. You allowed 70. What are you going to do, Denver? It was an embarrassment. But you did play down against your competition. Defense, look, and this is not the first time someone said this, they have yet to beat the front runner allegations. When things are going well, they're great. They had some adversity, and they have some issues. It's not okay. Lunatic, move Micah to linebacker. Shout out, baby Olivia. I don't know if that's the full-fledged solution. I think there were very much some times where he got sucked in. I do think Dorrance Armstrong, Dante Fowler were kind of liabilities against the run right now. I think in general, especially early on in that game, your defense was so amped about making the play immediately. Like they wanted to make the play, the forced fumble, whatever. They did settle down later, and then I think their spirit was rocked with the Dak interception, which I can't blame them at all. The game was over at that point. I think the real solution is your safeties have to play better. That's like if I could change one thing, safeties play average, the results are much better. Chris B, I know overreaction, but blow it up if no playoffs. Jerry would never. If you want to move on from Dak, this is how you do it. You have to blow it up. You can't keep doing this, oh, let's try Quincy Carter, let's try Hutchinson. You have to blow it up. Get that cheap quarterback. Reset your money a little bit, take some dead cap hits, set yourself up for a future run. If you don't believe in Dak, that's the way to go about it, is blow it up. Jerry would never. Leroy Pearson in another Tyrone Crawford on the D-line. I think they would like it if that was Chauncey Golston. And Chauncey Golston, I think pretty clearly, at least against Arizona, wasn't really that guy. He had a fairly mediocre missed tackle as well. But yeah, a peak Tyrone Crawford who's not bouncing around back and forth, that run-stopping DT/D end, they want that to be Chauncey Golston. He wasn't that against Arizona, admittedly in a smaller sample size. Dallas Belka, Dougie and Keenan keep throwing spinning back fists. Back fists. What's this in reference to? I know it's UFC, but I don't recognize any Dougies in the UFC. I'm sure I'm missing something there, so my apologies, my friend. Jay Smooth, some of them penalties were bullshit. Cardinals have been holding Micah Parsons the whole game. He clarified he meant Micah, not Michael. Dallas defense didn't come play either. Yeah, it's true. It's funny to me, by the way, that this Cowboys team, or these officials, will not throw holding flags on Micah Parsons. The one that was in the end zone, and they're going to say the holding started outside of the end zone, which was at like the one when contact was made, would be the fastest holding call in Micah Parsons' history. I don't know about that one there. Gallup PI. The Wanye Thomas was a fictional flag. Straight up was not offsides. Didn't matter in the end, but he wasn't offsides. Now, it's not why you lost. A lot of reasons why. Refs were bad. Defense didn't play either. Both of those things, like Jay says, are true. Chris Schmidt, first super chat. You need to get more aggressive and creative in the red zone. What are your thoughts, Tom? Yeah, they absolutely do. Let me pull up I wrote these down in my notes in terms of like what they did on that drive. So I'll read it off one more time here, unless more supers come in. Let me make sure I can scroll down there from the game. We're 1 for 5 in the red zone on touchdowns, 10 carries for 24 yards. Now, outside of those carries, you averaged like 8 yards per carry. You were awesome. But you were bad in the red zone. Inside the 10, 4 carries, 1 yard. That's failure. You called 5 straight running plays, down by 2 scores, with 5 minutes to go. What are we doing? That's not going to work. Like they were not going. They were taking their little sweet time. They were acting like it was a tied football game. That's how they were calling plays. Not down by 2 scores. Maybe it's the offensive line is a concern. I would not be surprised, but they got to be better. DeLunatic, thoughts on our tight end play so far? Honestly, outside of CeeDee Lamb and last week for Gallup, everything's kind of meh in the passing game, isn't it? A lot of short stuff. It's fine. Maybe it's the offensive line, but at a certain point, you have to open it up. You can't have a quarterback who has shown you for half a decade he can push it downfield, he can lead a top 5 offense, and go short stuff only. That's just coaching failure. Whether it's the offensive line, whatever, you can't do it. Can't. It'd be one thing if Dak was a first-year player. We know what he is. He'll make some mistakes. Don't let anyone let him call him a turnover machine. It's not historically accurate whatsoever. He's led top 3 offenses. They've been the number 1 scoring offense with Kellen Moore at the helm. If the solution is we have to only do short stuff, your coach is an idiot. Now, if it's the offensive line concerns, okay. But you have to open it up at some point. You have to. Leroy Pearson, when does Jerry get the list of missed calls? I don't know. I don't know if he'll do much with it anyway, because Jerry protects the shield through and through. Do you love the Dallas Cowboys, folks? Then hit that sub button right now. YouTube.com/CowboysTV for more free videos every single day right here on the channel. Pug Racer, Zeke is about to go for 100 yards on the ground against us. He's not. I'll be pissed if he does. I'll be in shambles. Be Zeke's first 100-yard game in how long? Or his second in how long? Exactly. Joe, the view from behind the Dak on the INT in the end zone is all you need to see to not sign him to an extension. That's a mistake. That's not a mistake. It's bad judgment. Now, Dak has said that he tried to look off the linebacker and fire one in there, and that's fine. It wasn't going to work. I agree it was bad judgment. I'll say this, though, too. Every quarterback in the NFL has made that mistake. Every one of them. If the argument is that one play means you can't sign somebody, Deshaun Watson threw a pass backwards today, or on Sunday. I don't know if you guys saw that. Quarterbacks make mistakes. It's going to happen. That's how football works. Now, it's not okay. I'm not excusing it. It was a terrible decision. I think it's a mistake in judgment. It's fine. I also would say that's what happens when you run the ball twice and now it's 3rd and goal on the 6 in a must-win situation. You had the ball down 2 scores and you've let 4.5 minutes go off the clock because you've been running the football. That's not great. Can't throw it. Live to see another down. You have to throw it out the back of the end zone there. It's just not open. I get he's trying to make a play. It's not open. Can't do it. But every quarterback does that. Everyone. Even Rodgers does it occasionally. Him less so because he never turns the football over. Mahomes will do stupid stuff occasionally. It happens. It's not a reason why you can't sign somebody. You can be mad at it. It's fine. But quarterback's got 1 interception in 100 passes this year. That's actually insanely good. Frankly, that's not a rate I would expect. It's not a rate I would expect. To continue, it's going to, honestly, if you're around 2%, you're a Pro Bowl quarterback. That's how it goes. Michael Sutton, does the D-line focus too much on rushing the pass or forget about the run game? Sometimes they do. That was kind of Robert Quinn's issue, is he would get caught up in the sacks and kind of get out of position a little bit. So yes, you do have to keep contained. There were multiple times we said they didn't keep contained. A little bit too much. I'll call it hero ball. Offense and defense, right? That Dak interception, that's hero ball. It's hero ball. Sometimes you need it. Honestly, the only way the Cowboys are going to win that football game is if Dak played hero ball. It was the only way. The defense wasn't doing enough. You needed 2019 Dak where he was just throwing it downfield and making plays happen, where you have 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in a 2-game span. That's how it goes sometimes. You need some hero ball sometimes if you're not playing very well. But opening drive of the game, probably not the time to play hero ball. Leroy Pearson Jr., Zeke versus Micah. Who wins this battle? Micah. If it ain't Micah, We got problems. Chris B, running QBs always seem to kill this defense. Now, in general, most mobile quarterbacks do. I think you need a mobile quarterback in the modern-day NFL to have success. I think you have to have the mobility as an option. Not just run. I don't think you can be a statue. And you saw it even on your side. Dak is not going to be the Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields scrambler anymore. It's not who he is. But you at least need the ability to avoid the pressure. You saw Dak do it multiple times. There were a couple of free runners against Chuma Edoga that he got away from somehow. But yes, running QBs have killed this team for a long time. You have to be fundamentally sound. And they were not fundamentally sound early on. The Lunatic, need to see a tortilla slap. Where's Chugs at? Chugs busy. We're not going to have Chugs on here for at least a little bit. So my apologies for that, my friend. If you have not subscribed, hit that sub button. Again, no live show on Thursday. I'll be out of town, which means something negative will happen, I'm sure, on Thursday because they're cursed this year, it seems like. We'll be live again for our watch party. We'll be live an hour plus again before the Cowboys-Patriots game. Don't miss out. Hit that sub button right now.